Core ideas and principles. 1. Brain evolution is gradual but punctuated by major reorganizations. Roth argues that brain development is a long, stepwise process driven by increasing neural complexity. Key evolutionary milestones include the expansion of cortical areas, especially in mammals, followed by further elaboration in primates and humans. Major reorganizations, e.g., neocortical expansion, prefrontal specialization enable new cognitive capabilities such as planning, abstraction, and social cognition. 2. Hierarchical and parallel processing in the brain. The brain operates through hierarchical processing streams, sensory input association areas, higher-order integrative areas. Parallel processing allows simultaneous handling of multiple streams of information, e.g., perception, action, emotion. Integration across hierarchies underpins coherent perception, behavior, and conscious experience. 3. Emergence of higher-order cognitive functions. Advanced cognitive functions, complex planning, abstract reasoning, metacognition, language, and theory of mind, emerged from the interaction of specialized neural circuits. These functions are not localized to a single region but arise from distributed networks, e.g., frontoparietal networks, default mode network. 4. Consciousness is an emergent property of neural complexity. Roth treats consciousness as emerging from the dynamic organization of neural networks, rather than a single seat of awareness. It involves integration of sensory, motor, emotional, and cognitive information to produce a unified subjective experience. Different levels of consciousness correspond to varying degrees of global brain integration and access to information. 5. The role of emotion and motivation in cognition. Emotion is tightly integrated with cognition and decision-making. Affective circuits guide attention, learning, and action selection. Rational thought is influenced by emotional states. The limbic system interacts with cortical networks to shape behavior and learning. 6. Sociality and culture emerge from neural and cognitive evolution. Social cognition, recognizing, predicting, and responding to others' behavior, has deep evolutionary roots. Language, symbolism, and culture build on pre-existing neural architectures for social interaction, memory, and planning. Cultural evolution can co-evolve with neural structures, shaping and being shaped by them. 7. Plasticity and development across the lifespan. Brain plasticity is high during development and remains significant in adulthood. Experience, learning, and environmental factors continuously sculpt neural circuits. Critical periods, synaptic pruning, and network refinement contribute to individual differences in cognition. 8. Structure-function relationships in neural circuits. Specific brain regions and networks support particular functions, but most cognitive processes rely on dynamic interactions among networks. Examples include prefrontal cortex for executive function and planning, hippocampus and related networks for memory, temporal and parietal regions for language and social perception, default mode network for self-referential thought and resting state processing. 9. Mechanisms of learning and memory. Learning involves synaptic changes, strengthening or weakening a network reorganization. Memory is distributed across cortical and subcortical structures, with different systems for episodic, semantic, procedural, and working memory. Reinforcement, prediction error, and dopaminergic signaling are central to updating beliefs and behaviors. 10. Pathologies as windows into normal function. Studying brain disorders, e.g., amnesia, aphasia, neurodegenerative diseases reveals how networks must be organized for normal cognition. Roth emphasizes that disruptions in integration and connectivity illuminate the balance between specialization and integration in the brain. Typical structure you might find in Roth's exposition. Introduction, framing the question of how brains and minds evolved and why it matters. Evolutionary history, from simple nervous systems to complex brains. Timeline of major milestones. Neural architecture, overview of brain regions and networks, emphasis on hierarchical and distributed processing. Consciousness and subjectivity, proposals about how conscious experience arises from network dynamics. Learning, memory, and plasticity, mechanisms of change in the brain across life. Social and cultural dimensions, how brains support social behavior and the emergence of culture. Implications, for neuroscience, philosophy of mind, education, and medicine. Open questions, areas of ongoing debate and future directions. Potential takeaways for readers. The mind is not in a single module, it is the product of interacting, dynamic networks. Evolutionary gains come from both increasing computational capacity and new ways of integrating information. Consciousness is best understood as an emergent property of complex neural interactions, not a standalone faculty. Emotions are inseparable from cognition and crucial for adaptive behavior. Individual differences arise from variations in development, plasticity, and experiences, as well as genetic factors. Studying disorders and cross-species comparisons can illuminate general principles of brain function.